We've come up with this webinar partly on the basis of the ebook that Marina has written recently. So within this webinar, you've got some of the things that we've covered in that ebook, but obviously it's quite nice to have that delivered in person. And it's because we understand dom care and are very, very keen to help you do better in your business. So let's just introduce you to us. I'm Marie Page. I'm the marketing manager at CareLineLive, and I'm joined with our home care champion, Marina Martin. Marina's got a fabulous background in domiciliary care already and has worked with CareLineLive for a number of years. She's like our ear to the ground in domiciliary care. Now, I'm not super exciting on LinkedIn, but Marina absolutely is, and shares a lot about all things home care. So do follow her on LinkedIn. I think Natalie's going to pop the link to Marina's LinkedIn in the thread, so you can just click on that and follow. I'm going to hand over to Marina in a bit, but let me just give you a few bits and pieces about CareLineLive. I know we've got customers here today, but we've also got people that perhaps have not come management software. We only work in home care. We've got over 650 companies that we are working with at the moment. They're mainly in the UK, but we do have some in other countries as well. We are on the NHS DSCR, Digital Social Care Records Assured Suppliers list. So that gives you, the confidence that we're fully compliant with a huge number of criteria that the NHS put together that's been independently tested and verified. And there's a certain level of security and cybersecurity in that assured list as well. We were founded, we've been developed and supported in the UK to date. So you pick up the phone, we do answer it. We answer it on average within 20 seconds and picked up by someone who is working from the UK. We have three aspects to our software. There's a management platform, which typically is what you'll be using in the office. There is a carer companion app, which typically carers will be accessing on their mobiles on the go. And there is a care circle portal for families of your service users. We're very, very customer focused. That's our big kind of unique selling point. I'm speaking as a marketer here. And that's what sets us apart from other providers. We've actually got 4.8 out of 5 on Trustpilot. So we are the highest rated home care software provider in this country. We update the software regularly. One of our more recent features is GP Connect integration. If you've not seen that, do check out our YouTube videos because there's some webinars we've done where we presented that. And the last thing to say about CareLineLive is that you pay one price, you get access to the full product. You don't have to pay for additional users, for instance, people in the office, and we charge on a per carer per month basis. So that's enough from me and enough about CareLineLive. We're going to now talk about you, and I'm going to hand over to Marina to do that. I'm going to sit quietly in the background and address any questions that might come through. Thanks, Marina.
Thanks, Marie. Thanks for everybody for joining today. I just want to go through a little bit about the social care system because we're in such a big time of change. It's really important to sort of be in touch with what's going on, especially in my role, and to keep our customers informed. So we're looking at the government of launch, and they're talking a lot about plan for change. It's a 10-year plan. We don't know how that's going to go. The goalpost seem to be changing an awful lot. But the thought of having some more funding for social care, it's a very hot topic at the moment, and it's not going the way that we would like it to go. But saying that, we're hoping that as things progress, there will be more opportunity for government funding. Also, there's a lot of talk about a national care service, which would be fantastic for social care, and it would be lovely to be in line with the NHS running side by side, but we'll see about that. We don't know if that's ever going to be a reality. In terms of hospital admissions, I think it's good news for us, and it's something that as providers you will be doing all the time, and you're trying to keep people out of hospital, and really looking at avoidable hospital admissions. And I think the impact on that is that that there's more opportunity for growth and for scaling, etc., if we've got more people living in the community. But that said, I think a lot of you will understand that often people are discharged from hospital when they're not quite ready. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation where people might go back into hospital the next day when they've been discharged, the previous evening, which has happened to me on many occasions, when I was managing domiciliary care services. So it's just sort of, hoping that the NHS gets that right, and that we can keep people at home. I think also the government are really keen to keep people with disabilities within their own homes. So they're talking about making adaptations to people's homes, which can only be good for our industry. And also workforce stability. It's so important that we try as a whole sector to stabilise the workforce that is so fluid in social care. And as Marie alluded to, we're very keen on interoperability and integrating with the NHS systems. And as Marie alluded to, GP Connect's one of our major new features, which a lot of our customers are enjoying. So I'll just go to the next slide. So thinking about adoption of technology, I'm sure in the audience we have people who are services that are still paper-based. There'll be services that are straddling between the two, and there'll be services using technology not to its full potential, and there'll be services that are really sort of up and running and using, say, CareLineLive to its full potential, which is fantastic. So, we need to really think about successful digital transformation. So as a provider, what you're thinking about, what you need to think about is, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve from your software? I mean, some providers might say, well, I'm just interested in the invoicing and rostering. But actually, if you're buying into a software and engaging with that software, it's really good to use the whole of the software, because it gives you a really good picture of how your business is doing, because you've got all the data analysis, you've got all the reporting features. And I think to avoid stumbling blocks when you're looking to either switch technology or buy new start using technology, it's really important that you collaborate with your teams. Really important to involve staff in decision making. Ultimately, it's not going to be their decision in the end as to what software you're going to opt for, but it's really important that you have some idea of what they would like out of software, what it's going to mean to them. You need to promote the benefits of technology. There's a lot of digital dinosaurs that are within the workforce, within social care, and it's really important that they understand that it's not very difficult to use technology. In the past, I've found, especially sort of the beginning of the technology era, that you would potentially lose staff excuse me, in terms of it would put some staff off that they were going to have to use technology, excuse me. But I think it's evidential on if you look at our resources and look on our Star Carer blogs, that actually a lot of those people that really didn't want to adopt technology are very, very happy that they did so, and it's making their lives much easier. So staff will also want to know if you're changing to a new technology, or if they're new to your business. How am I going to be supported to use this technology? That's really, really important. It's very daunting to think, actually, I'm using paper today and I've got to start using an app tomorrow, and how am I going to manage with that? So very, very important to get people on board, let them know how they're going to be supported. The next point that I'd like to make is about transitional timeframes. Very, very important. Again, collaboration. Let your staff know what the timeframes are. Have realistic timeframes so that you can enjoy a smooth transition into using that new technology. And the technology does give you so many advantages. And I've got a testimonial here from Southeastern Health and Social Care Trust. And what they were very paper based, and it's a very big organisation, obviously. And what they've said in their testimonial is not only have we seen phenomenal improvements to our capacity and efficiency, but the standard of care has increased. We are now better able to tailor the care services, tailor to the needs of people's care services, and deliver it in a suitable time. If someone needs more time, we can easily flex the system to deliver that without the need to make cascading changes. So in what can be a complex paper-based system. So, that time saving, that use of resources can be used elsewhere. So, as I say, Southeastern Health and Social Care Trust are very much enjoying their transition to technology. Next slide.
Just saying, Marina, there's a little video clip there of a customer of ours, TSF Healthcare, who have been extremely eloquent on the benefits that they found with it. So that will be in the notes, which will be sent to you along with a recording of this.
Thanks, Marie. So, we want to think about unlocking the potential of digital transformation, and it is a must. There is no getting away from it. If you're not using technology, you're going to be left behind, and you're not going to have the opportunity to grow potentially as well as you could do. So, as Marie spoke about, digital social care records, CareLineLive are very much involved in that. It's very, very important that we sort of get on board with what that means for us as providers. And it's a vision for the future. I wouldn't say it's happening now, but it's certainly a vision for the future that each person will have a digital social care record, and that will be shared between various healthcare professionals. And I'm very much hoping as social care professionals, as we are digital social care providers, so you would hope that we will be integrating into the NHS. And the point of the digital social care record is that information is always up to date and very current. And the other important part of that is that the NHS, and of course we do as providers, want people using services to be in a position where they don't have to keep repeating the same information at every appointment and when things change for them, etc., etc. So it's really about sort of stabilizing and having a better outcome and experiences for people using services. And obviously that really impacts on providers, because if you've got the update information, then you just know exactly where you are with the client. We've also got on our system, and we partner with the Professional Record Standards Body. Now they are we're a partner with them, and what they want to do is they want to standardize people's experience when accessing care services. So exactly like the digital social care records, it's nothing different. And they have introduced, which we have in our suite of assessments, an About Me assessment, and that is there and available for our customers to use. And it's hoped that this will be a standardized form that goes right across the health and social care. So, again, it's very important that you're sort of really buy into using technology to its potential. I think it's also really important to be innovative in your way of using technology. Very important to really buy into your digital transformation and make it work right across everything you do within your company, from care delivery to invoicing to payroll to marketing. Technology is definitely the way to go. So Marie talked a little bit about integrating care. It's quite difficult in terms of social care software providers. We're at the behest of the NHS to work with us to for us to be able to integrate with those other systems. We call it interoperability. We've done that very successfully with GP Connect, and it's been a real blessing to have that for our customers, because they're not only seeing medication, they're seeing lots of up-to-date information that's critical for people using services. So I've got 2 testimonials here for you. One's from Coastal Home Care, and they said, "We're impressed with CareLineLive's functionality and its ability to grow with our business. It's increased our capacity to take on more business. Moving to CareLineLive is the best thing we've done." And again from North Shropshire, the last one was TSF Home Care, but this is from North Shropshire Home Care. Alice there said, "We thought GP Connect was just about medications, but it's about so much more. It gives us more time, more accuracy, and more confidence in our care delivery." So you can see that as software's evolving, CareLineLive's evolving as well, and we're doing everything we can to be at the forefront of that interoperability. So looking at sustainable growth, sustainable growth is not just about getting bigger. It's about scaling in a way that you preserve your values, your culture, and operational control. If your business is chaotic, you are not going to be able to scale effectively, and it'll just become more and more chaotic. So I'm going to go through some very basic foundational steps that you need to take into account when you're looking to scale. It's a little bit like a house built on sand is never going to stand the space of time, whereas a house built on rocks will be there for many years. So this is how I look at these 7 principles. So the first one is clarity. So clarity is the absolute foundation of the start of your strategic growth journey. And it's really important, again, to involve your teams and let them know what's happening. If your team doesn't know where the company is going or why it exists, misalignment will kill the momentum, and it will ultimately hinder your growth. So very, very important to have strategic alignment right across your teams. Doesn't matter how big or small your team is, just clarity as to where that business is going. You need to educate your staff, and you need to involve them in strategic planning. A lot of your staff are on the ground. They know exactly what the trouble spots are, the pain points of the service. So it's really, really important that they're involved as you try and start to scale. So the principle really is about setting a clear direction so that everybody's rowing in the same direction. So you haven't got friction, you're all on the same page. So focus is about what helps you execute effectively. It's really tempting to chase any opportunity that comes your way, especially if you're a small startup. You're trying to get sort of any business that you can. But actually, great companies don't do that. I know you can't be, extremely selective, but they don't chase every new idea. They know what they're about and they stick to it. And it's really important at the beginning of your journey to be mindful of not, again, becoming chaotic and jumping on every opportunity that comes your way. So I would say that, look at the opportunities and make the move when the time is right. And, always keep in mind what your strategic plan is and try and keep that aligned. Strategic drift happens when you get distracted by noise. So if you've got lots of different, ideas and things going on and opportunities here, there, and everywhere, you can get very distracted by that and actually lose the way of your strategic plan. So it's very important to stay centered and implement processes that guide you and get you to each milestone so that you can reach your first goals. I think it's very important to be disciplined in what your strategy is and the results that you want to find. You need to really sort of build on and be consistent and be very disciplined in your execution. So discipline is really fundamental. It's like I said when we were talking about the last slide, you know, if you're not disciplined, things can become very chaotic and you end up firefighting, and you know, it can be very detrimental to the growth of your business. So it's about having the discipline actually to create repeatable habits and systems that don't depend on a few key people. Because often in home care, and I've found this very much at one time, I do have to say I was guilty of this myself. And, you know, I've found it often with care coordinators. They will have lots of information going on in their heads that they keep in their heads. They don't, you know, they don't think that they need to share that information. But actually, what happens is if they go off, if they leave the company, if they are on annual leave, if they haven't got that minutiae of detail shared with whoever's taking over their job, then what happens is that things start again to become chaotic and service users aren't receiving what they should receive. So very, very important to be disciplined and to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and there's always somebody that or a number of people that know the process. So it's very important to be disciplined about that. And be disciplined as a manager if you're very keen to hold on to things. You're not going to be able to scale if you do that. So it's very, very important to be able to delegate tasks and share information and make sure that people understand their roles and responsibilities and what they are accountable for. Because if they've got the foundations and they know their roles, their responsibilities and what they're accountable for, that gives them a really firm foundation. And that's what you should think about when you're looking at your processes. Be very disciplined about your processes, about how you scale with your processes, and make sure your processes are very tight. So predictability, it's really important in the workplace that people understand how the business works. It's predictable. They know what's happening, and they're not working in chaos. So predictability builds confidence. It builds confidence with your customers. It builds confidence if you've got investors, and it really does build confidence in the team. Everybody's on the same page. So you can build that predictability and trust through positive company culture, and one that fosters consistency and openness, and where staff feel that they feel empowered to have a voice. I think that's really important, so that you know they can think to themselves, I can go and speak to Marina any time that I want, and I know she'll be there to listen to me. I think it's very important to just have that sort of tranquil culture within your service, because as we know, domiciliary care is a very busy and can be a very stressful environment. I think when your business performs consistently, your forecasts are much more accurate. All the data that you've got becomes much more accurate because your processes are really tight. You're better equipped to plan going forward. You're better equipped to go and ultimately better equipped to make bold moves. So I think in terms of predictability, your teams need to know that you're going to keep them informed. They're going to know what the strategic plan is in general of the service and what it means for them, because everybody wants to know, am I secure in my job? Am I safe in my job? What does the future look like? So I would say communication is absolutely key in this principle. In terms of systems, we've talked a lot about processes as we've gone through the presentation, but I think systems are the backbone of your scale. If your systems are not tight and fit for purpose, you are not going to be able to scale successfully. Your tight systems that are fit for purpose, that are well thought through, that thinking through incidentally doesn't just come from managers, it comes right from the top down. So involve people that are using systems in the development of those systems. They keep your team free from guesswork and free from reinvention. So if they don't know how a certain process works, they might just invent something that misses out parts of the process, and then all of the information that you need is not available. So very, very important to think of involving your team, and think automation. Make sure that you automate as many processes as possible and standardize workflows. And make sure that when you choose your software, that you're going to choose a software like CareLineLive, actually, because we listen to everything, all the requests that our customers have, and we're sort of ever evolving. So when you're using software, it's really important to make sure that you're using software that you can use to scale with you. Another thing is documenting workflows. People can't remember everything, so document your workflows, make sure they're embedded into the culture of the company, and make sure, again, that people understand the workflows within their roles and what they're accountable for. Make sure your staff are on the same page, basically. And yeah, have systems that really allow you to delegate, and without you losing control, because ultimately your leadership, your management, you need to keep ultimate control. So it's about keeping that control, but also delegating and developing people. So talking about developing people, my personal view is that people are your greatest asset. For me, when I've hired people, I've always hired, I'm not hiring people now, but when I've hired people in the past, I hire them because they bring value to the business. They bring something to the table. They've got something to offer. So it's not just about hiring, it's about nurturing, it's about keeping your talent and growing them. Are they the right cultural fit? Are they engaged? Are they engaged with your strategic plan? And you can develop people for leadership for the future. Very important to be looking at your continual professional development for everybody. Appraisals and supervisions are not just a box ticking exercise. I'm sure a lot of people understand that. However, sometimes they're used for just a box ticking exercise to meet compliance. And the bottom line is, if you want to keep your staff, you need to develop them. And not everybody wants to be developed in the same way, but some people have aspirations for themselves. And that's where your succession planning comes in. You spot the talent, you make sure that people are qualified and have the experience that they need to succession into another role. That's incredibly important. So looking at insights, with a system like CareLineLive, you get lots of data. Those of you that use CareLineLive, the reporting is absolutely fantastic. You've got information at the tip of your hands. One thing that all of the regulators across the UK are really keen on at the moment, and it will be ongoing, and rightly so, is feedback, customer feedback, stakeholder feedback, client feedback. And it goes without saying that if you're not analysing your feedback, it's a waste of gathering the feedback. It's a waste of the resources, that you used to get that feedback. And what the regulators want to see is that you can scale effectively by using feedback, by developing your service or your business using feedback, and that you can continue with a safe service as you scale. So getting feedback, listening, learning, and developing your business is important in terms of feedback. You can measure what matters. You can analyze the data, and you can identify areas of growth. Where are you failing? What you're not doing very well. What are you doing excellently? You've got that whole spectrum of issues that you can come across, but obviously you're doing great things as well, so it's very important to showcase what you're doing. So the insights also help you to tighten systems, tighten up your processes, develop your policies in a way that works for your particular service, and very good for efficiency, compliance, and forward planning. Because how can you forward plan if you haven't got those insights from technology and from on the ground? So where to begin? If you're a small business, you might have your business, you will have a business plan, I would hope, and you'd be looking at your business plan and thinking how can we develop the business? I mean, that goes without saying. If you're a little bit further on in your journey, maybe it would be a good idea if you look back at your original business plan and look how your milestones, have you met your milestones? Have you met your goals? How's the business evolved? Has it evolved in a way that you expected it to? You can identify areas for growth. You can identify areas that are stable when you're looking at that, your original plan. And it's really important to identify areas for growth through market research. You need to look at your population statistics within your designated area. What are the community needs? Because they differ from community to community. So what are the community needs? CQC and all of the regulators actually want to see that you understand your local communities. That's a big thing in your governance and well-led categories and regulations. So what are the community needs? How are people accessing care within your communities? What are the pain points? Where can you grow? Where are the gaps? Another interesting analysis you can do is you can do a competitor analysis and look at the gaps in your market. And interestingly, what's your local authority offering, and can you meet the requirements? A lot of people or a lot of services fall down on the requirements of local authorities, not because they can't deliver the service, but what they're buying into is a lot more complicated than they thought, and there's sometimes a lot more work. I was listening to a talk at the Home Care Association conference a few weeks ago, and Sheffield Borough Council is working very closely with providers and really sort of trying to help them to be sustainable and to help them grow. And one of the initiatives that they have is that they're giving out much longer contracts, up to 10 years, and much more condensed contracts in terms of area. And what that means is that it seems to be proving to make those businesses much more sustainable and really helping with keeping staff and workforce planning. Another interesting one of the care associations, Linker, their work with local authorities is really interesting. So they very much negotiate with the local authority. I feel like they're a very strong care association. They have got a web page. You might want to just visit their web page and have a look and look at the work they're doing and the results they're getting. In terms of operational challenges, you must address any issues that come up. There's no point in burying your head into the sand. It doesn't go away. So operational issues often escalate, and that's when your business again becomes chaotic, and that hinders your progress. So very much, if there's a problem, solve it, and don't just let it sort of sit in the background. In terms of marketing your company, you really need to get out and be seen. If you're not out and known in your local community, how do you think you're going to get business in? And you know, those lucrative private clients, it's very, very important that you're well known in your community. So, and you can showcase the great work you do. So for instance, you might have an open day where clients and their families come in to the office for coffee and cake. You might speak at local events, and certainly in this little town that I live in County Durham, there are many, many, many societies and clubs for elderly people. I mean, if you're going to be old anywhere, it's great to be old in this, or elderly in this town. So finding your feet and networking and doing public speaking is really important. And let's face it, it's not easy to do public speaking, but it's a means to an end, and you're relaying a lot of important information that will help you get known in your community and will help you scale. So I've run through a little bit of an overview of how you start those firm foundations. Our ebook has got lots to offer, lots of information about scaling your business. So you can download that on our website. If you're a new business, we've also got another ebook about starting a home care business. So you're very welcome to download that from the website. So that's it from me. Obviously, there's questions coming in, and we can take some questions at the end if we've got time. But I'll hand over to Marina, and she's going to talk you through the marvels of marketing.
Thanks very much, Marina. So you can scan the QR code there with your phone if you want to get to the form where you can just put your details in to get that ebook. It's also on our website under the resources section, which is where you will also find the ebook that's more geared towards brand new home care businesses. So Marina's sort of run you through some of the things that we've covered in that ebook today. It's got a lot more besides. So for the rest of this webinar, I'm going to talk to you about some marketing essentials. I think Marina made some really important points, particularly in relation to how you've got to have visibility locally in order to draw those more lucrative private clients to you. And I know from talking to local providers that we're working with in Sussex here, we've been doing some videoing with them recently, and they are kept afloat by their private clients. They've got their local authority contracts, but if they were only using those, they would really struggle to make ends meet. So marketing is really important. So in my experience as a marketer of many, many years, and as someone that's worked in this sector for 3 years, I would say there are 2 must-haves, and then there are a number of nice-to-haves. So the 2 must-haves, I would say, are a decent website and a Google business profile. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about both of those in a moment. The things that are nice to have, but I think should be under the priority listing. You need to have your website first and your Google business profile after that. And then kind of nice to have will be social media. It's so tough nowadays to get decent cut through on any social media platforms. The organic reach of, say you've got 500 people following you on Facebook, that's quite a big number for a local home care business. Only something like 7-8% of those are actually going to see your updates, because the way the algorithm works is unless you're paying or unless you've got a really viral piece of content, they're just not going to see it. So that's soul destroying when you're putting a lot of time into it. Obviously, the algo would like you to pay a little bit of money to boost that content out to other people. But it's a bit of a minefield out there in social media land nowadays. So, nice to have, but not essential. Important to have yourself listed in directories as care providers. So you'll probably be aware of directories such as homecare.co.uk. The Home Care Association will have a list of local providers, and there will be other kind of localized lists to you, or regional ones if you're a member of your local care association or care partnership. You should be able to be listed on their websites. So see what you can find locally and in terms of directories to be listed in. Video marketing, social media loves it. Having a YouTube presence is really nice, but it's a tough thing to do if you haven't got some experience of that. Perhaps not something to do as a priority. Paid advertising, well, that's great. That's going to cut beyond the algorithms that social media and Google are giving to show you in the search results. but it does come at quite a cost, and I think you would be advised to work with someone that knows what they're doing before spending a lot of money on either Google's pay-per-click ads or ads on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Email marketing, it's reasonably low cost if you've got things that you can say to your prospects. So these will be friends and family potentially of people that are looking needing care. Then using something like MailChimp is a reasonably low cost way of emailing them. You've got to get their email addresses in the first place, and you probably need a website to do that with some forms that you can fill in, or people can potentially fill in on that form in order for you to capture those emails. But also when people ring into the office to find out about what you can offer their relative, then perhaps to capture their email address with permission to email them is a good idea then. I also wanted to just talk to you a little bit more about a content marketing approach. So this is where you have information on your website that goes beyond the basics of who you are and what you do and who it's for, kind of thing. So these are much more in-depth blogs, perhaps podcasts, that kind of stuff. Now, I would suggest that this is really not for smaller providers. This is for larger providers that have got a team, perhaps someone working full-time in marketing that can help create that sort of content and push it out on the different platforms. But I wanted to just give you one example of a really nice set of marketing resources that one of our customers, Mega Nursing and Care, have done. So if you go to their blog section, you'll see a lot of their content, and that will potentially give you a lot of ideas for content that you could write yourselves. And AI like ChatGPT is very much your friend in helping you write this sort of content. You may want to tweak it a little bit, but you could open up ChatGPT and say, give me some ideas for articles for a blog for a home care agency. And it'll give you 10 ideas, and you can then ask it to write some of that content. You can then rework it, but it gives you a really good starting point. We often joke at CareLineLive that ChatGPT is the 5th member of the marketing team. None of our stuff is completely AI, but we certainly use it for brainstorming and for helping us write. We get a lot more done with a small team because of that. The only other thing that I wanted to pick up in relation to Mega is they have a fabulous podcast. Our very own Nick Shah, who is in the background on this webinar, was interviewed for that recently. You can find their archive of resources in that link when we send the slides through to you. Okay, so why is a website essential? So I'm talking about 2 different things now, just a little summary really of my 2 top tips for marketing. So I'm going to first of all talk to you about websites a little bit, and then I'm going to talk to you about Google Business Profile. So why is the website important for you? Well, I've got some data here that just shows you how many people are searching online before they schedule an appointment for a healthcare inquiry. So, this is probably American research. It was quite tricky to find something that was UK specific, but we share a lot of similar behaviours online with people in the States. So 60% running a search before they schedule an appointment, for instance, for a nursing home, and I think the same would be for home care providers near me. I haven't got a clue who they are. I'll start by looking online and seeing what these websites look like. And 73% in this particular piece of research begin their search with general terms like home care rather than specifically searching by company name. So they often don't know that ABC Home Care is, operating in their area. They're just like, I need domiciliary care for my mum or my aunt or my dad. So they're searching for home care provider or domiciliary care provider near me. And another study suggested that 60% of people are using the search tools like Google or Bing to research before they're accessing care. So that's from the point of view of people that are looking for services. The website, when they find it, is the first impression that they get of your business. Now, just have a little think about what your website's like. What does that front page look like? Is it loading quickly? Are the photographs lovely and, are they stock shots or are they real shots of people that work in your business? I'm not saying one is better than the other, but you know, or are they kind of people that are gurning and they're not terribly well framed and it's very dark or overexposed or whatever? So the photo, how are the photos looking on that page? Are all the links working, particularly on the home page? Is it easy for them to find what they're looking for? Do you follow a consistent navigation pattern on the site? Is it easy for them to find, getting in additional information? How easy is it for them to contact you, to talk to you if they want to? Then thinking about your website as a central hub for information, is it sharing about what you do, what your specialist areas are? Is it telling the story of why they should choose you, what your unique selling proposition is? You know, for CareLineLive, it's pretty clear if you come on our website that we really do genuinely pride ourselves on our customer service and the customer support we have. If that's one of your big things, is that really clear, particularly from the homepage? That website is also going to be important to start building that journey of trust with both families and service users. But also think about the other audience for your website. Are you able to support your recruitment efforts via your website? It's a lot of people that are coming onto your site may well be carers and other support staff that are looking for work in the sector. If the website looks a bit of a mess, a bit chaotic, what does that say about you? They'd probably prefer to go to something that's looking a little bit more professional. And then, as I've mentioned already, does that site mean for easy contact details and possibly capture of people looking for a job? You know, just get their email address, their phone number, or people that are looking for care for their loved one. So this is the kind of thing that I would, if I was going to audit your site, this sort of thing I'm looking to see whether it's easy for me to find. Can I get a bit of a picture as to who you are as a business? What is your story? Who are the people that set the business up? What are their values? Who are the leaders now? How are they leading? And like I say, why are you different from other providers in the locality? Can I easily see that you offer, say, palliative care, or you offer overnight care, or, you know, are your minimum appointment times 20 minutes, 30 minutes? What is it that your offering is? Who are you serving? Perhaps you specialise in providing services for people with head injuries. Is that clear? Or, you know, have you got another particular demographic that you focus on? And crucially, and this is for Google as well as humans, what geography you cover. And it's good to state those geographic areas. Talked about unique selling proposition, what sets you apart from other providers. It can be a good idea to put testimonials into the website. If you've got photos, that's great, but just a quote that has a real testimonial from a family or a service user that you've worked with, it just lifts it and just immediately starts that journey of, oh, these feel like the sort of people that I would like my loved one to go to be cared for by. I would suggest that you do put your CQC ratings on, links to any Google reviews, that kind of thing. If you've got a CQC rating that is perhaps requires improvement, or it's a very old rating that you kind of feel you'd be doing far better nowadays, explain all of that. We did a webinar recently about websites, and Marina shared a screen grab of the care home where her mum is. And I think it's a required improvement rating. But Marina has found their care to be exceptional, and it was just the right place for her mum, but it was a really old rating. Now, you could get a testimonial from someone like Marina who said, I looked at the rating and I was concerned, but when I went and met them and now I know them and my mum's really enjoying this care. So you can counter some of the perhaps negative perceptions that people might have. I'd suggest that if you're trying to recruit, you might want to have a careers page. This could have job listings in, but also explain why it's great to work with those processes and systems and career development that Marina has talked about. You could showcase that in that section. And then in the top nav, you absolutely want to have a section where there's a contact page and people know where your address is, they've got a phone number, they've got an email address that they can get in touch with you. So that's the top tips on website stuff. I'm going to give you a link in a bit. Actually, Natalie will probably pop it into the thread now. There's a link to a YouTube recording of a webinar I did on websites, which has got that and a lot more on it. So you can just, it's an hour's recording, but it's packed. You can see the kind of the pace that I tend to teach at. So you can imagine that for an hour, there's quite a lot more in there. Okay, so I just want to talk briefly about Google Business Profile now. So you're kind of going, what on earth is this? What is this jargon? Not another thing I've got to be in. Well, sadly it is, but it's not hard to use. So Google Business Profile is a free tool that Google offers to local businesses that will help you get seen better on Google. So it's separate from search engine optimization, which you may well have your website set up for. It's specifically for local searches. So when people pop in, as you can probably see in my screen grab, a search into Google that says, for instance, home care agency near me, your Google Business Profile will determine how you show up in that local search, and it will often show up on the right-hand side of the search bar. So you could do this yourself in a search engine and well in Google and see what is showing up. Okay, so put that in and see what shows up. You might want to search for CareLineLive and see what shows up on that, because you'll see our Google My Business Profile will come up on the right-hand side. And you'll see some Google Business Profiles there. So I'm just on the screenshot I've got here. You've got that search in the top bar, and then you've got the first 3 things you see are the paid pay-per-click listings. So you know, that whole organic search thing is really tough. It's right down the bottom of this page. It's well below what we call the fold. You'd have had to have scrolled to have seen it. And I'll just attempt to show you this. I can find my mouse. Just what I'm showing you here. It's here that you're getting the organic listings from Google. But above that, you've got these Google Business Profile listings. So these are local businesses that have got Google Business Profile set up. So why is this important for you? Well, as you can see, it's going to improve your visibility in local searches, and it will show up where you are, where your head office is, or the different offices are on Google Maps when people are searching for home care services in their area. It will give you the opportunity to boost your online credibility, so you can get reviews and ratings on there. You ask your service users and their families to review you, and that will help establish trust. So think about it. If you were looking for a home care provider near you, are you going to go to someone that's got 5 reviews or someone that's got none? Well, I don't even think I need to answer that question. The other thing that the profile will let you do is share critical details like the services you offer, what time you're opening, and what your contact information is. Now, I haven't got time to go into all of the Google Business Profile information today, but the how you set this up, more information about how it all works, is in the webinar recording that I made of this. So again, Natalie will pop that one into the chat thread for you now, and it will also be in the slide deck. So there's about an hour on Google Business Profile and an hour on how to improve your website. We will have another webinar for marketing at some point after the summer holidays, and this will all be about tips for local PR and media coverage. So it would be lovely to see you at that. We will be sending that out to the usual names we have on our database. So you'll get that information. It'll also be on our social media. So that leads me to say, please follow us on social media. There's Marina's connection there and CareLineLive's corporate connection link, but also social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you want to have a look a little bit more at our website, the resources section is where you want to go to for information about CQC and compliance, and you can go directly by going /blog, that is our resources section, and you can see the compliance and CQC section there. Well, look at that, it's 4 minutes to 2 o'clock, and I have finished talking, and so has Marina. So let me ask whether you have any questions about either anything Marina has talked about or I have talked about. It would be great to have your feedback, both in this particular chat thread, but we would also love for you to share a review either of the webinar, or if you're a user of CareLineLive on TripAdvisor, because as I've said already, having reviews for you as a local provider, I just said TripAdvisor, didn't I? I mean Trustpilots. No one's coming on holiday to see us. It's important for both us as a business and for you guys as businesses to have reviews on Google, on Trustpilot, if you have that, and all the rest. So perhaps, Natalie, you might be able to just pull the Trustpilot review link as well. So I haven't briefed you on that one, but that would be great to have that. I'm waffling on because I'm waiting for anybody to ask any questions. Thank you very much, County Durham Coordinator, for that feedback. That's very helpful. And like I said, we will be giving the slides. Go on, Marie.
Excuse me, Rosemary's asked, will you be sending us information related to the associations working closely with Sheffield? It was the care provider that was working closely with Sheffield. If you go to our resources, in the dispatches from Linker, I think it was. No, from the Home Care Association. Sorry. If you go to dispatches from the Home Care Association conference, you will find that resource in there. It was a company called Be Caring that was on the panel, and they were very much enjoying their sort of interactions with Sheffield Council. The other care
Marina, just tell me again which one it is. I'm just trying to find it on the blog so people know what they're looking for, and I'll put the link in the
Home Care Association dispatches.
It's the Home Care. Do you remember whether it was day one or day two?
Yeah.
Day one or day two?
Oh, there's a question. No. It's Home Care Association. It was just one day.
Oh, sorry.
Not Care Show, Home Care Association. There you go. In the red top.
It's this one. Yeah, I've got you. Okay, so it's that one, and I'm going to pop that in the threads.
Yeah. And Linker, which is the Lincolnshire Care Association, Rosemary, you can they've got a website specifically for their care association. I think the person that is the chair of that is called Melanie. Her details are actually on that on the website. So just head over to their website at Linker, and then you'll get that information that you need.